How are you guys doing today?
We're great.
Wonderful.
Great. Really excited to be here.
Can you tell me about your journey to this project and what you knew of the book, if anything?
For me, I think of the three of us, I came to the party last. I only read Kindred when I was cast. I did not, I don't read much fiction. So, I picked up the novel and I did not put it down. I was happy before to get this role, but once I read the book, I was like, oh, this is so compelling. It's so gripping and it's so necessary for now. It's thrilling.
I had read the book a few years before getting the audition for this, and when I did, I just was like so excited that this book was finally making its way to the screen. And then I read Brandon's incredible script for the pilot and just was like, I want this so bad. And I just feel so, honored to, be a part of this really important story and finally bringing, Octavia Butler to the screen.
Yeah, when I auditioned, I hadn't read Kindred. I've always been an Octavia Butler fan. Her favorite novel of mine is Fledgling, which is her last novel written. But in the audition, Brandon asked me if I had read the book. And as a good actor, I was like, yeah, I read it. And I hadn't. And then I got the part. And then, like Sophina, when you get the part, you delve in deep. And I could not stop. And I really realized how deep this story was, how much of an honor it would be to add to the legacy of Octavia Butler. So, yeah, big fan.
I know obviously the book was set around the time it was written, and now the show is set in current day. Your parts aren't necessarily much different in terms of that era. Would you say that there are important ways in which the show is different, though, than the book overall?
A hugely important way that
my character is not in the book, so that departure, which I think Brandon so geniusly added, actually gives more breadth and space to investigate some of the themes that Octavia already uses in her work. So that was really. It was wonderful for me to, and also there's a lot of pressure there too, because for the Octavia Butler purist, you want to get it right. You want to be a pivotal addition to the work, and I think that what the character that Brandon created and I co-signed on, and will add to that legacy.
Yeah, I definitely think that there are some ways in which there are things that are hinted at in the book or things that we hear about but don't necessarily fully see that Brandon has really just parked in and spent some time on. So there'll be some things that we'll get to see sort of more fleshed out in some detail, some aspects of certain characters' life. I think there's definitely more of Luke's backstory in the series than we see in the book, and I think that's really exciting.
That's been the thing, is the way that this series allows space to explore these characters in just such a really meaningful, thoughtful, and impactful way to the storylines that are coming up. I know understanding a greater sense of the why behind Sarah was really fascinating.
Was there anything that any of you struggled with to connect with about your characters?
Yes, absolutely. Have you seen the entire series?
Not the entire thing.
Okay, then I can't talk about it.
I think at first it was a struggle to sort of just day in, day out live in the sort of, pain and sadness of, American slavery, but it got to a point where it actually became secondhand. And that, I think, is exactly what Octavia Butler is interrogating.
That's right.
It's how easily you can accept slavery.
Yes.
So that it was a struggle at first, and then it wasn't.
That's what was so brilliant to me about the novel too. Is I don't know. Have you read it?
I haven't.
Oh my goodness. Well, there's a moment where, in the novel, where Dana is walking back to the Wayland plantation after traveling again, and she's walking, and she was like, "It's this weird thing. It's almost as though I'm walking home."
Exactly.
Yes.
Oh, do you remember that? Ooh.
Scary.
It still gives me chills.
It's the complexity of that statement.
that it felt more at home. She
Yes.
felt
Yeah,
more at home on the
past than she
plantation
did
in
in
the
the
past.
And
than she-
in the
Yeah.
and that is the fascinating quality of Kindred.
Because as somebody who lives in the present, that's not something you'd want to admit.
Nope.
Or something you would refute. You'd be like, well, I would never feel like that.
Yep.
And it's, I think Octavia is asking us to really consider that it might be easier than we think.
There's also a sort of lighthearted nature to some of the scenes that are
Yeah.
so fast, which is jarring because you shouldn't have there shouldn't be comedy
Yeah.
or things that could be funny because it's just such a bleak,
Yeah.
era. How
Yeah.
was it to, live in those scenes and film them like that?
Well, there are moments
Refreshing.
there are moments of
refreshing.
joy in everything.
Yeah.
I think that we as a people, my ancestors lived through the worst time to be black, and I think that there had to be joy. There had to be joy in order for us to come into being today. There had to be that joy
That
as well. And
humor.
I'm so happy that that's in there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the note of having seen or not seen the whole series, once the show is available for audiences, it's all going to be available.
It
Right.
is.
Yeah.
Do you recommend that people sit down and just block off for the whole thing? That's a clear answer.
Yes, it's a binger. I think.
I think
Yeah,
so
binge
too.
it.
I definitely think you should. I mean, take a break for water and do what you got to do. But
Right.
I think if you don't start it at 10 p.m. That's what I'm
Right.
saying, because then you'll be stuck for 8 hours. But yeah, I definitely think it's a binger. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure to unpack your characters and your experience, and I hope everyone will appreciate, if not necessarily enjoy, Kindred when it comes to FX on Hulu on December 13th. Thank you so much to all of you.